اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This is a brief discourse for the Fuqra families regarding the Islamic etiquettes or adab to be observed in the Bayt. The Islamic etiquettes are based on holy Quranic injunctions and the conduct of the most perfect master, Rasuli Akum sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, his Zawjad Aql Bayt. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has exalted mankind to follow the conduct of the holy last messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, saying, verily he is of the best conduct. O ye talibeen, remember that the difference between the beast and the human being is that a beast is free to roam about, to eat, sleep, and behave in any manner it likes, whereas the behavior of the Muslims is regulated from mahad, from the cradle, to lahad, the grave, and beyond. Our beloved holy messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his Aql Bayt did not leave a single instance unexplained or unregulated concerning Islamic etiquette. Therefore, you must pay attention to the adab and ikhlaqi Muhammadi. The wives must do their duty, and children must obey their parents according to the sunnah, as absolutely no matter has been left to guesswork or to one's own sweet will. Here again the question arises as to how far Muslims residing in the United States can follow the Sharia and Islamic adab, known as the adab and ikhlaqi Muhammadi. In this regard, I invite your attention to my previous discourses on the veiling of women and the rights and duties of the Muslims residing in a Kufa country. If you have not yet to study this directive, please contact your area Naib or Amir and procure a copy as recorded on cassette. In this discourse, I will elaborate the extent of the practical application of these etiquettes in the light of the prevailing social and moral conditions in which the Muslims of the U.S. find themselves. I'm going to make full use of all the leaves granted by Sharia under these circumstances. Therefore, I shall keep before me this cardinal principle, that we should not make things unnecessarily difficult for the Muslims residing in the U.S., as they are passing through a transitory stage, and their state is like that of the Jamaatul Muslimin who resided in Meccatul Mukarramah before its conquest. Following are some fundamental rules of Islamic etiquettes which are being sent to you concerning your present state. Example, the Muslim families residing in a hostile Kafir society wherein they must maintain a respectable standard of living so that the Muslims do not become a target of ridicule due to ill manners, dirty appearances, lack of proper maintenance given to the home and its surroundings, or poverty. Because such things will ultimately bring a bad name to Islam, and in turn will have a strong negative influence in the propagation of Islam. I divide these discourses into the following sections. 1. Rights and duties of the head of the family. 2. Rights and duties of the mother of the family. 3. Rights and duties of the children. And 4. Rights and duties of the guests, friends, talib brothers and sisters. Also included are the adab of eating, sleeping, sitting, as well as bathing. I begin with the first topic, the rights and duties of the head of the family. The head of the family is likened to a ruler of a small state, wherein Islamic law and adab should be enforced. The wife is the prime minister and the children are subjects. In the Islamic social order, the home, although a very basic unit, holds immense importance within the Islamic social system. The ideal Islamic home is that wherein all live in complete love and harmony, wherein salat is regulated, holy Quran recited, and the dhikr of Allah commemorated. In the Islamic home, the wife is treated as the second wheel of the cart and is a most essential organ of the family unit. It is the divine will which has made man the provider of provisions and security to the members of the household, And the Holy Quran enjoins the man to earn lawful food and raise the children on pure food. Men must provide for all family needs, and they must be content with the Islamic way of life, by which I mean a simple living conditions and eating habits. It is the duty of the husband to do justice to the wife and show a maximum degree of affection to the children, and keep them away from the harmful, immoral influences. It is also the duty to arrange for the Islamic education and pay the utmost attention in providing them opportunities for recreation, sports, and games within the Jamaat. A father must punish children only when he finds that despite all his attention and hard work, they do not take heed of his directions. Only then he can chastise them without inflicting any physical injury or venting his personal vengeance. It should be done for Allah's sake. Children should not be imprisoned, starved, or deprived of meals, made to stand in a corner for hours, beaten with sticks, clubs, or fists, nor should they be openly abused in the presence of their brothers and sisters. The father in such situations initially should sit with the child and discuss the problem which caused the child to disobey. He should use all the means at his disposal to bring out the best in the child and endeavor to capitalize on that. The head of the family must see to it that the entire household eats at one place, at one time together. There should not exist two meals or menus or two types of food served, one for the elder and one for the children. All eat the same. No child is to be punished for taking food from the kitchen or elsewhere in the house without parental permission. For if a child takes food, it is due to hunger. The second topic that we're dealing with is the rights and duties of the mother of the family. The second in command is the mother of the family. A father can be compared to a ship. Similarly, the mother is likened to the ship's sail. Islam gives the highest status to the Mustura, the Muslim ladies. It places Jannah, belief, their feet. Yet it warns that the majority of the occupants in the hellfire will be women. A Muslim wife must obey her husband. By husband I mean the one who follows Sunnah in letter and spirit. She should not allow any stranger to enter the home without the husband's consent and knowledge. Now you must understand that the Muslim brothers and sisters are not strangers. She should be content with what her husband earns and must never make undue demands of him. In cases wherein the wife finds her husband incapable of doing some job or earning due to some legitimate cause, she should do some business or job herself in the event she is not having young babies to attend to. Now dealing with the job situation and the dress. Dress for working women of the Jamaat must exhibit a display of modesty at all times, even when observing incognito dress. The head must remain covered by a small scarf or cap. A loose shirt or blouse, long skirt to the ankles, or full-length straight-legged pants may be worn. Vests, jackets, and blazers may be worn in appropriate weather, and the chest should not be displayed. Keep covered to the neck. Our women may not wear cosmetics in public, nor perfume, nail colors, or jewelry, excepting a pair of simple earrings, a wedding ring and wristwatch, and one or two bangles. Now, this small amount of jewelry is so that women will remain distinguished from men. The general idea is not to draw unnecessary attention nor allure the kafir men with your charms. At the same time, al-Mustara should observe modesty, yet be able to travel to work and do job without undue harassment she most likely would receive while wearing Islamic attire. A Muslim woman may not work in any bar, disco, gambling hall, or for any dating service or escort service, as a taxi cab driver, in hotels, or with police or their subsidiaries. In establishments where pork and or intoxicants are sold, employment is allowed, although not in that department. However, if any establishment exclusively serves or handles these haram items, no Muslim is allowed to work there. The best course is to establish a home industry wherein women can do work in the home and the goods may be sold to distributors or retailers. A Muslim wife must never discuss the occupation of her husband or his activities with anyone, nor is it permissible that she should maintain friendly ties with the wives or daughters or immediate relatives of the enemies of her husband. Such an existence prevails in New York, where a number of women in this Jamaat are still befriending wives of the enemies of Allah and Al-Fuqra. In fact, such women are enemies of their own husbands, this Jamaat and Islam. As long as they persist in following this course, they will suffer from misfortune and disease as a sign of the punishment and wrath of Allah. Now I'll stop at this point because in evaluating the situation throughout the Jamaat with those who have made hijrah and as well as those that have been left behind, for many years we have established relationships with people from various Jamaats and who practice various degrees of Islam. At one time this was not frowned upon, but because of the seriousness and conviction of this Jamaat al-Fuqra, it is necessary now that we reevaluate our relationships with Muslims. All those who believe in Allah and the Sunnah of Rasul Akram sallallahu alayhi wasallam and follow Islam in letter and spirit, whether they verbally state that they're a part of this Jamaat or not, we have no problem with such individuals. But there are those amongst us in the various cities that we're in that have spoke very harshly of this Jamaat al-Fuqra and of our Sheikh and of the Talibin in general. And no longer can we allow such relationships with such people to exist. These people have manifested, and their relationships have manifested a test and trial on this Jamaat. Because if you love Allah, there is no way that you can love those who are against Allah and who did not express love for Rasul Akram sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So it's time to reevaluate the relationships that we have. If you find that there's a place in your heart for these individuals, then you must ask Allah subhanahu to remove this, because there's no doubt about the fact that these relationships cannot exist and they are counterproductive. It's a very trying situation because, as just spoken previously, there are women as well as men, nevertheless, that have these relationships. They must make a choice. As simple as that, they must make a choice. If a man notices that his wife has these relationships, he should admonish her and educate her as to why these relationships are counterproductive and are avoiding our security. And after doing so, if she does not amend her ways, then he must realize that he can no longer stay with her, and vice versa. In the event that a wife notices that her husband maintains these relationships and she points it out to him and he does not respond to it in a proper manner, then she should take it to her area Naib or Amir and state the situation to him, and he should do the proper investigation of the situation. And if he finds that there's a security breach, then he must take appropriate actions to admonish the individual, and if he does not respond positively, then a separation in that sense will take place also. Do not look upon this lightly, because we're dealing with Allah's business, and anyone who hampers or becomes the obstacle in the fulfilling of the requirements upon us as Muslims, then they must be removed or separated. Make sure that you reflect on this at all times. Again, I will repeat the last part pertaining to the women who associate with the enemies of Allah and of this Jamaat. In fact, such women are enemies of their own husbands, this Jamaat and Islam. As long as they persist in following this course, they will suffer from misfortune and disease as a sign of the punishment and wrath of Allah. Continuing, speak on the etiquettes of eating. It is the duty of the Muslim wife to see to it that the household eats according to Sunnah. The ma'idah, or the eating cloth, should be laid on the floor and food served on it. Prior to eating, hands are washed and no towel used. A wife is encouraged to place a bowl and pitcher on the right side of her husband and extend the courtesy of washing his hands. The meal commences with the uttering of a dua, for instance, Ya Allah, and then begin by taking some salt or eating a saltish thing. The entire family should eat from one tray if possible. In cases where the family is large or guests are in attendance, a number of trays or large plates should be used to accommodate all. The etiquette of sitting. A Muslim lady, in her formal manner, does not sit with legs outstretched. Rather, she always sits in a cross-legged posture or with one knee erect, the other folded, or with one foot under herself, as in Jalsa. In private or the presence of her husband, or while in informal surroundings, her sitting posture may not be so strict, yet at all times she must exhibit a degree of grace, and she should be ladylike, as an example to her daughters and source of joy for the entire family. The etiquettes of sleeping. As has been narrated in detail in previous discourses, every talib and taliba and older children must be in a state of wudu at the time of retiring. They should sleep with the face towards the Qibla, lay on their right sides, and recite Fatiha and the 4 Quls before sleeping. A Muslim family is expected to retire after Salatul Isha and arise early before dawn for Tahajjud and Salatul Fajr. Any worldly conversation held after Isha will result in bad dreams and the missing of Tahajjud Salat. Sleeping naked or even half naked is not permissible. Adab with the husband. A wife must be willing to be available whenever a husband desires her, but she should insist that he only approaches her in the manners as prescribed by the Quran and Sunnah. If the husband should expect of the wife that she indulges in sexual perversions, she should resist him and report the incident to her area Amir or Naib. A wife may refuse to be available to her husband if her co-wife or co-wives are present in the same room. However, there exists no harm if a number of wives sleep in one room while their husband is also present in that room, as long as no marital activities transpire between the husband and any wife, as this is clearly against the Sharia. Such accommodations are permissible in instances where there exists a shortage of rooms. In such a case, the husband may ask all his wives to share one room and admit only one wife to his separate room on her turn. If co-wives live in one house or apartment, all of the cooking should be done to accommodate all members of the household, so that some wives are not observing separate meal times or insisting that the husband provide separate cooking arrangements or foods. When and where a wife should not obey her husband. If a husband stops performing salah, the wife must warn him. If he does not listen to her, she should report the matter to the Naib or Amir. And if the husband insists on not making salah, then she should not obey him, but await the decision of the Islamic court regarding him. Should he become a drug addict or a drunkard, or he commits adultery or acts of homosexuality, or he joins hands with the enemies of Islam and this Jamaat, in such cases she should leave the husband. Rights and duties of the Muslim children. When children are old enough, they should be educated in the Islamic way. The first book a child should read is Yasr al-Quran, the Quranic primer. All Muslim children should complete one full reading of the Holy Quran before they reach the age of puberty. Every male child must be circumcised within 7 days or 40 days of his birth, and his head shaved immediately after birth. Akika should not be postponed for boys or girls. Children should attend a madrasa wherever available or a similar curriculum established in the home. After early morning hours of salah, reading Holy Quran and eating breakfast, the child should study in the madrasa, masjid, or home, receiving the necessary instruction until early hours of Zuhr. On no account should the child be left unattended to do as they please or to roam about outdoors collectively or individually. They should be prevented from keeping the company of the kufr children. Older girls should not be allowed to stay somewhere or in the home with older boys, unsupervised, and this applies as well to older brothers and male relatives. Elder boys should not be allowed to stay alone with small boys. It is the duty of the parents to provide the children with decent clothing and good food. When a child tells lies or steals, it means he or she is being ignored. Instead of beating the child, the parent must do their duty in showing love and affection towards the child. It is the duty of the children that they must obey their parents. No child is in a position to understand certain denials or privileges provided through the parent. No child should do what the parents have instructed him or her not to do. No child should keep the company of children or immediate family members of the enemies of the parents and Jamaat. In so doing, the child will be considered the enemy of the parents, and they will not be able to place their trust or confidence in that child. No child should accept gifts from neighbors or even associates and companions without bringing it to the attention of the parents. It should go without saying that no child or adult should ever accept any gift from a stranger, particularly kufrs. In the event a child does work, part-time or other, the child must place the money in the hands of the parents, who must look after the needs of the child and allot him funds and or save or spend the money for Allah's sake. Always the best interest of the family and the child must be considered. The children belong to the parents, and their property also belongs to the parents, who should fear Allah. No child has the right to say, "It is my money because I have earned it." In a Kafir society, Muslim children should be married early in life. However, they must be prepared for marriage, and the development process does not occur overnight. Girls may be at the age of 13 years or older, boys 16 years or older, and earning regularly on some job. Children approaching puberty must be prepared beforehand regarding the physical changes they will experience. The child should not be allowed to read Kafir women's magazines, comics, romance novels, and polluting Kafir literature, nor should they be encouraged or permitted to perform Kafir habits and customs. The topic to be discussed is television. Certain programs are permissible for children's viewing. News, sports, halal sports that is, documentaries such as explorations in wildlife, space, or history. Remember, viewing should be regulated by adults, and every care taken to avoid lewd commercials, and if necessary or need be, turn the TV off during commercials. Also, the television should be a tool to educate ourselves and children and to keep us informed of world activities. It should not be used so much as the Kafirs use it for recreation, as we Muslims have healthier forms of recreation and entertainment. In short, every parent must believe that their children are a trust of Allah in their hands, and every parent must raise their children as a future hope and mujahideen. Thus, children should be spared of every difficulty and raised as normal, healthy Muslim children. Showing affection to your children. In an Islamic society, parents kiss and embrace their children throughout the span of their life. This is the best way to show affection and love and to share happiness. I find a strong Kafir influence still prevalent in our Muslim society here in the United States, in that the parents, brothers, sisters, and friends do not touch one another, whereas a father must embrace son, rub his back 2 or 3 times, stroke his head, and kiss his forehead. The mother must embrace her daughters and place her hand on their daughter's head, stroke her, and other du'as to Allah, invoking His blessings, etc. Friends, male friends and brothers must meet one another in such a way that their necks touch, followed by a handshake. This is sunnah. It is not uncommon that close friends or brothers or sisters or mother and daughter, etc., go about holding hands. Women do not embrace in public, but should shake hands upon greeting. Parents must hug and kiss their children, even as they grow older, and display towards them love. The Kafir influence which still exists must be abolished. In fact, this is the la'anat, or the wrath of Allah upon them. Bathing. Children should be taught to bathe in the Islamic way. Sunnah does not permit the wasting of water, and generally an adult is expected to utilize no more than 1 full bucket of water for the bath. Children should not be allowed to bathe naked. Girls and women should wear a long garment and sit on a milk crate or stool, placing the bucket on the right-hand side and gently pouring water in the prescribed method, using some plastic or break-proof large mug, bowl, etc., preferably some container with a handle. Standing under the shower or bathing naked is not allowed, as when we use the shower we cannot control how much water is used. The Holy Messenger ﷺ has forbidden us to waste water in ablution, and the same applies to the bath. Married people must know the proper manner of performing ghusl junaba, and the children who are approaching marriage should likewise know as well. It is not necessary that wives wash their hair with shampoo or soap at the time of every bath after relations. It is only required that 3 vessels of water are poured over the head, saturating the hair to the roots and scalp. During bath and pouring of water, the recitation of kalima, tayyab, and shahada should be repeated often until the feet are completely washed. Appropriate du'as may be uttered upon completion of the bath. Beautification and grooming. Muslim ladies are expected to use henna, at the very least on the hands. Should she choose to use it on the head, an immediate improvement will be noticed in the hair quality, as henna is food for the hair. When applying to the head, the ladies should confine themselves to a warm location in the house, as henna produces a cooling effect and is never used in cold months, as it can lead to severe chill and disease. This wonderful treatment gives strength to the eyesight, relieves headaches, has numerous medical qualities aside from its natural perfume which emanates from the hair 7 to 10 days after application. Also, it may be applied to the soles of the feet during the hot summer months. Applying to the head and feet help lower the body temperature. Neither children nor adults should ever, for grooming aids, use mineral oils, petroleum jellies, or creams and ointments derived from these sources. Muslims use at least 30 different natural oils for various health and cosmetic purposes, but availability in the United States for your use are coconut oil, sesame oil, mustard oil, olive oil, and any other pure vegetable oil for the use on the skin, scalp, and in the hair. The mineral oils and petroleum jellies, alcohol, and other harsh chemicals are not for human use, and the Kafir has taught you to disrespect and mistreat your skin and hair. Follow the Muslim's way and you will note a remarkable improvement. A bit of perfume, alcohol-free that is, may be applied to the oil if you prefer. Children should enjoy a weekly body massage of olive oil, and cool should be applied to their eyes from the age of about 1 week. If so done, their eyes will become large and eyelashes thick. Also, strong vision will result and diseases will not occur. Cool may be applied daily after grooming until about the age of 1 to 2 years, when it should be applied for visiting, receiving guests, parties, Juma, Eid, etc. Frequent use until age 5 or 6 is enough to last the life long, and after this age, cool may be applied to the children's eyes for special occasions. Male and female children may wear it. The next topic that we're going to deal with is the rights and duties of the guest, friend, talib brothers and sisters. Removing the shoes in the home. Nowhere does Sunnah demand that a Muslim remove his or her shoes upon entering the home, which is an act reserved for the masjids. Outside the living room, beside the door, or the room where guests sit, or the room used for salah, or where family members sleep, respect should be shown and the shoes removed before entering such rooms. However, remember that going about barefooted will result in an unusually long foot. So for this reason, all Muslim ladies and girls and most boys wear a house slipper which has a closed toe to prevent expansion, and it should be constructed of strong material such as leather or sturdy canvas or plastic. Men also may wear a slipper for the house, but remember, these should not be worn in the hammam. A simple rubber or plastic thrown slipper should be placed outside the hammam's door, and before entering this slipper is worn into the hammam and removed upon exiting from the hammam. Take caution not to allow any shoes, be they house shoes or those worn outdoors, to lay on the floor in front of you or someone else engaged in salat. Rather, the shoes should be removed to some other area or behind a sutra, not in front of those making salah. Treatment of guests. Your talib brothers and sisters may call on you at any time, as they are a part of your family. Therefore, you should not take unnecessary trouble in entertaining them, nor disregard the rules of etiquette and hospitality in regards to them. When they come, or when they call on you at home unexpectedly, you should arrange to bring before them whatever food you have on hand, be it a cup of tea or some beverage, snack, or meal. The moment a guest arrives, you must guide them to the room for sitting, or in the case of wayfarers, you should take them to whatever room has been prepared for their stay, having provided linen, wudu utensils, etc. If a guest comes to your home for the first time, show them which is the way to the hammam. Upon the guest's arrival, you must place something to eat or drink before them. Do not force your guests to eat more than they like to eat, nor make them feel shy of eating when they are hungry. Also, it is to be remembered that no Muslim should cause problems to others by paying any visit at odd hours if avoidable or unnecessarily. Nor should one overstay their visit, causing some hindrance to the host or hostess. There is a strong kafir influence present amongst Muslims in the U.S., in that they do not show any hospitality to a guest, be it an invited or uninvited guest. A Muslim is always expected to be a generous and kind host. Therefore, you must remember that whatever you will feed to your guests, it shall not be deducted from your ordained risk. Your guests have rights over you, towards which you should endeavor to remain sensitive. This completes the discourse or the khutbah written by Hazrat Sheikh Mubarak Ali Gilani, and it will be followed with a question and answer period, wherein Sheikh will answer the questions that have arisen as a result of some companions of yours listening to this discourse. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
الحمد لله رسول الكريم الصلاة والسلام على المرسلين. The discourse which you had just seen and heard, which was written especially for the Muslims, families, and which was read out by Hasib Haqq, Imam of Masjid Al-Fuqra, Brooklyn, New York. I would say that is the beginning of the series by which we have stepped up our educational program. We started educating the Muslims in US and other English-speaking parts of the world, first with simple discourse recorded on the ordinary cassette player, and also with the discourses written in the books and journals and flyers. Regarding Adab or Akhlaq Muhammadi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam or Islamic etiquette and discipline, you will find my book Bab al-Mushahada al-Hazuri very useful. It is in English. Most of you know about it, and it is available New York, Philly, and Elphin. That book contains quite in detail how a Muslim Talib or Talba should lead life, in the steps of Sayyid Rasul Akram Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. But nevertheless, there are a good number of points which need further elaborations, because my attention was drawn that I should elaborate personally some very important factors. Those are the husband and wife's relationship. Because if the relationship between husband and wife is an ideal relationship, then you will have an ideal family, loving, affectionate, and obedient children. If something goes wrong between husband and wife, then the children will be spoiled, and it will result in immense damage to the Ummah of Muhammad Rasul Akram Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Because for Muslims, each household is like a fort and is very important. Important particularly for the Muslims living in the country of Kafirs, Dar al-Kufr, where each home is a link, strong link in the chain. So we cannot afford to ignore even a single household unattended or ignored the extent that our message do not reach them. It has already been explained, the nature of the relationship. Now I tell you, the basis on which the loyalty and affection and devotion of the wife is based. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not left anything unexplained, or everything has its origin from Holy Quran. An ideal wife, you find the best example is from amongst Ummahat al-Mu'mineen, and also Khatun Jannah, Fatima Zahra radiyallahu ta'ala anha. You find that Khatun Jannah, and who Allah gave her so much honor that we accept it as a great honor for us, that unlike Christianity and Judaism, where women have got no right and no position and no honor, Sayyida Fatima Zahra is the first Sultan Fuqra. It's a great honor, and mother of two princes, Imam Hassan and Hussain Raziyallahu Ta'ala anhu. Now you must see, as a taliba, as a zawja, the partner and the wife, the same thing. Your aspiration lies in the fact that you should follow either one of the Ummahat al-Mu'mineen or Sayyida Fatima Zahra. You will notice that Sayyida never had more than bare necessity in her home. The extent that she had to grind her own cords, and she never complained. They used to boil on all the 5 points of the hands, here and here, and she would recite Holy Quran and grind fresh corn and bake a roti, which most of us are learning now, and prepare the dough, knead the dough, and prepare the roti, the round which you now have started cooking for her Zawj, the Prince of Fuqra, Sayyid Ali Karamallah Wajh, the Lion of Allah. They had very simple furniture in the house. That was one cushion, a leather mattress filled with date leaves, date palm leaves. They had one leather bottle for carrying water. They had one bowl for eating. Yet, millions of people have died defending their honor. Millions. How great they are and how great Allah made. Because they did not pay any attention to this world, its charms, its wealth, its luxuries. Because we Muslims are travelers. Sayyidina Rasul Akram Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has said, a mu'min is like a rider, fast rider on the horse, and his life, the worldly life, is just like as if the rider had stopped for a while to take rest under the shadow of a tree, and then he goes on his way. So my dear Talib and Talbas, and Muslims in general, your life is a very short span. In this short span, don't pay any attention to the luxuries of the world, to develop and cultivate habits of kafirs, and never ever think of following the custom and culture of the kafirs. But as I say, while living in Darul Kufar, people are bound to be affected somewhat or little. We acknowledge that aspect. We acknowledge that aspect. We don't rule that out. But as I say, look how generous were Ummahat al-Mu'mineen. Each one excelled each other, tried to excel each other in doing good deeds of virtue and generosity. They never tried to excel each other in other things, or they never tried to. They found the Sayyidina Rasul Akram Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam loved those who were most generous, who had the longest arm. That means in Arabic, whosoever is very generous, they say that person has got a very long arm. So if you happen to be one of those lucky masturat who have co-wives, you should try to excel her in doing goodness, good deed, acts of generosity. You must try to excel her, in ibadah and zikr, for Allah's sake. But do not try to sabotage or her position or enter into intrigue or backbiting. If you will do backbiting of your own co-wife, you shall be deprived of all the reward of your zikr and ibadah till the time the person forgives you, your good, virtuous deed shall be transferred in her name. Beware of doing wrong thing. Fear Allah. Don't you know, I'm talking about the loyalty and love of a wife, and another ideal wife, another ideal blessed woman whom entire Muslim world follows, to the extent that they had to walk and run like her every day on 10th of Zil-Hajj, or on every Umrah. Every Muslim, whosoever does not walk or imitate her walk during runs, 7 runs which we make from Safa and Marwa, we call Sa'i Bainul Safa wal Marwa, that person's Hajj or Umrah is not complete. You will have to imitate Sayyida Hajra if you are a Muslim. What a unique honor and reverence Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to Masturat, the ladies, the Muslim ladies. And how degraded and debased are those who rebelled against their husbands and against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's commands and became headstrong and went their way. They will find no peace and honor in this world and in hereafter. Do you remember why Sayyida Hajra, Zawja Imamul Anbiya, Abul Anbiya, I would say Abul Anbiya, father of the messengers, Imamul Anbiya Sayyidina Rasulullah, Abul Anbiya Sayyidina Ibrahim Khalilullah alayhi salam. She was given that honor because she set up or she exhibited the highest standard of loyalty toward her husband for Allah's sake. She believed in her husband's mission. Her husband and herself, they had one donkey common between them, and they started traveling from Egypt. You look at the map, they start traveling from Egypt. They travel all the way and they crossed over. They come to Arabia. Maybe they covered 1,000 miles, 800 miles, and they come to Arabia. And they come to the place where now stands Baitullah and city of Mecca. Ibrahim alayhi salam brings her into the deepest part of the valley, the deepest part, the navel of the world, Qura, Badul Amin, and make her sit down near a rock, probably Safa. There is no shadow, no tree, there is no water, it's a desert and no home. And then she sits there and he gives, and then she is expecting a baby. And he gives her a pouch full of barley, roasted barley flour, which is in fact our diet, the staple diet of the Muslims. If somebody here would remind me to elaborate on that, I will. Few dates and maybe some water. He gave it to her and he said that he has to go somewhere. Now Allah knows best where he had to go. But anyway, he went. And then Sayyida started feeling, thirsty and hungry. And in this time, she also gave birth. And that is, this is how Sayyid Sayyidina Ismail al-Islam is born. The first born son of Sayyidina Ibrahim al-Islam. And she goes in search of water. She doesn't find it. She walks from Safa to Marwa. These are two rocks. And in between, she ran a quick, pace. 7 times she ran. Imagine how full of anguish and worry she would have been. And she was looking for water everywhere. But there was no house, no tree, no spring, nothing between heaven and the earth except her and her child. But she never complained. She never said once that why did her husband left her unattended in this hostile, apparently hostile, land where there was not even a shade to sit. And she never thought even that that could have killed her. She could have perished because she knew that her husband was the Messenger of Allah and he left her the care of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, before whose eyes everything was being performed. Therefore, you find how the entire mankind was blessed with the greatest reward in the shape of spring Zamzam, the well Zamzam come out. Hazrat Jibreel alayhi salam, the friend, the messenger for the Mursaleen, he comes and he commands something to Sayyida, and with a touch of the heel, the well comes out, the water comes out from nowhere, and it still comes from nowhere, because the water which comes out of the well Zamzam, it is a different kind of water. It is not the water of this world. Its taste never changes, it never goes bad, stink never comes out, and people live for months and months on just drinking this water because it has a property that it also feels as if you are eating food. This is what the mankind got from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a reward, just because one mother, one wife, one Zawja was so loyal to her husband. She did not follow the Sharia. In Sharia might give some Zawja, somebody this concession, that if she finds herself starving or thirsty to the extent that she might fear that she will perish, she has a right to do that and this. It is a matter of love. Love has its own ethics. Remember, Sharia is law. Love has its own ways. Lovers have their own way, and the people who follow law, that is for the beginner, for the general body of the Muslimin, nevertheless do follow Sharia, but I am talking about the love. Where love starts, Sharia finishes. But I don't mean that the lover has the right to violate Sharia. I say the thing which I am coming to, the adab come from love. Anybody who loves, from his heart, a kind of conduct, a kind of behavior will come up by which he will behave. Though in a way that nobody has told him to behave that way. That is what comes out of a person when he really loves somebody. So the adab and ikhlaq Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it is a net result of those people who love Sayyidina Rasulullah. So from their heart, a kind of a unique kind of reverence and obedience, comes out, and a unique kind of rapport is established between the lover and a beloved, Sayyidina Rasul Akram sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because whosoever loves Rasulullah, Allah will love him. That's the promise. Whosoever loves Rasulullah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will love him. That is the only way to be, that we can be loved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it is one and the same thing. Therefore you will understand that Islam, how much importance Islam gives to the masturat. Mastura is plural of the covered one, the ladies, the Muslim ladies. Because you never know ladies covered or not covered. But we shall say masturat, I mean those covered ladies. So that is, I have explained to you. If you are wise enough, you will understand. If you are fortunate enough, you will follow this thing, because you shall not be questioned. Then why you revolted against your husband? You must obey your husband, a Muslim husband, a husband who is strict in Sharia. You must follow that individual. Don't revolt against him. Don't make things difficult. When I say the person, it does not mean the husband who doesn't follow Sharia, you must rebel against him. I mean, as long as a husband is making salat 5 times a day, and he does not commit haram acts, and he doesn't indulge in all those kafir ways, he's your husband. But the moment he start going after other people's or other women, or indulge in drinking, or he adopts kafir custom, then of course he is no more Muslim. So as I say, the husband and woman in Islamic law are one unit. If both give evidence in the court of Sharia, it is considered as one. So therefore, in your own interest and interest of your family and for your salvation here and hereafter, a wife must not do anything which her husband has forbidden her to do. She must safeguard the house, the sanctity of her house. She must not leave the premises if she has been told not to leave. She must not communicate with anybody, particularly her husband's enemy or enemy of Islam. She must not try to contact on phone or by letter or in person all those people whom husband forbidden, or as a matter of fact, without the permission of her husband, she shouldn't try to contact anybody other than her immediate family member living in the house, or her sisters and brothers living in the house. If a housewife has a relatives who are not Muslim, she has got no right to call them father and mother, because anybody, the basis of our relationship in Islam is Islam, the deen. If deen is not there, the relationship is finished off. Remember this thing. Many wives say that they want to go and meet their mother. No, you have no mother, you have no father if they are not Muslims. If they are munafiq, they are worse than the kafir. A person may call himself Muslim, but he does not make salat 5 times a day and does not give zakat and does not follow sunnah. That person may call himself Muslim, but he is a munafiq. And that person cannot be your father, he cannot be your mother, he cannot be your brother, he cannot be your son, he cannot be your daughter and anything, because we are very humble Muslims. Look what happened to the son of Nuh alayhi salam. You remember this thing? You must remember that thing. Nuh alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, yes, you have asked for the wrath. Now I shall send wrath on all those rebels. They will be drowned. Everybody will be drowned. Nuh alayhi salam said, Ya Allah, but my family members. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him the word, yes, your family members will be saved. So what happens? The water is rising, coming out of the wells, coming out of tandoor, tandoor, coming out of this like I can't imagine. It just comes rising from every quarter, and it is going up and covering the mountains. And son of Nuh alayhi salam is standing in front of his father, the messenger, one of the greatest 7 messengers. And he said in Holy Quran, read the Surah Nuh, Nuh alayhi salam saying, oh my son, come and join me in the boat. He said, no Abu, I will find a higher place to save myself. He said, today nobody will be able to save himself. This is the day of the wrath. But son said, no Abu, I will go and ride on the highest part of the mountain. And then a big wave comes, it envelops, it comes in between the son and father, and the son is drowned. And Nuh alayhi salam falls prostrate, crying and weeping. Ya Allah, you made a promise with me. What happened? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Holy Quran, Ya Nuh, he was not your son, because he rebelled against me. He was a rebellious person. How could he be your son when he was rebellious unto me? Therefore, another principle to remember, anybody who is rebellious unto Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or is Muslimin, he is not your relative, your blood relative. If you are maintaining your relationship with the blood, your mother, your father, if they are not Muslims, you have no relationship with them. And all those who are your co-brothers and co-sisters in Islam, they are really your family. They are really your family. If you're living in the United States or anywhere where you have your Amirs and your Naibs and other elders, they are your fathers. They are your mothers and fathers combined because they play the same role. If you are Taliba, your seniors in Jamaat, your senior Taliba, your other, they are your mothers. Therefore, for you, because a woman and a mastura, woman in English is not a good word for a Muslim lady, I'm sorry. A mastura, a bint in Islam, she gets maximum importance. She is a university. In Hasib, Jamia, she raises children. She must raise children, beautiful children. I say character-wise. Beauty in Islam, this face has no, we don't call this beauty. It could be white, it could be brown, it could be yellow, it could be black. The beauty, Islam recognizes the beauty of character, sirah. Islam recognizes the beauty of character, beauty of conduct. Hazrat Bilal Habshi is the most beautiful holy companion we ever had. One of the most beautiful. That time came when he did not give azan, the sun would not come up. He is chief. He is chief. And he is so concerned about certain situations. Right here, try to establish, O ye men, O ye Talibs, try to establish your nisbah and link at least with Sayyidina Bilal Habshi radiallahu ta'ala. I bear witness and testify, any majlis, many in the zikr majlises, he came. He never came before, he appeared. He is concerned with, all what is happening to the Muslims in the United States, and particularly those whose ancestors came from Africa. Therefore, for Talibs, your example lies in following, last but not the least, Sayyidina Bilal. Because there's special understanding and link between him and our Jamaat. That's why I say, follow him. What he would do? People would drag him on the sand. They would say, Ahad, Ahad, and Ahad. He established the highest standard of loyalty and friendship. As long as Sayyidina lived in the company of Salaam, for not 1 second, he was away from Sayyidina Salaam. He was brave soldier, brave muazzin, and remember, this is the standard he set for the friendship, for the loyalty of his Sheikh, Imam, Imam al-Anbiya, Sayyidina Rasul Akram sallallahu alaihi wasallam. For Talibs, you also owe a duty toward your homes. You must not give undue freedom to your wives. You must do all the things which a husband is supposed to do. Husband is supposed to go out, bring the food. Outside affairs of the house. If you will all the time engage your wife or tell her to do all the things which you are supposed to do, then naturally time will come when she will definitely, find some opportunity to put her weight, throw her weight on you. But nevertheless, there's another question I would like to clarify that the husband is a master. When whatever belongs to him or to his wife, it is their property, which is exclusive right of the husband to spend it in the best interest of the family. So even if wife brings $1 with her when she is married, or she has her private source of income It may be $1 or 1 million. It should not make any difference to the wife. It should not swell her head. Because once a wife, a zawja, she herself belongs to her husband, then what to talk about the few coins or the jewelry, which is of no significance, that too belongs to the husband. Therefore, no wife, Muslim wife, should be allowed to say, this is my money, this is I have earned. No, she should be very loyal and obedient, and whatever is there, it should be placed before the husband, and provided that husband is a just and loyal, that he does not spend that money on drugs, he does not spend the money on, watching films or, doing bad things against Sharia. If he does those things, then of course, wife has a right to put her foot down, and then she will have to take care of the children. I am saying when the husband is the one who is a Mu'min, he's a Mu'min who follows Islam in letter and spirit. There is so much that there are books, volumes of books written in the husband and the wife relationship. And next question will come is about the children. The children are trust of Allah in your hands, O parents. You must feed them what you eat. There should not be any separate menu for them or separate food for them, that you might be having all the things, the luxury of life, and you give them something just to know. You must not ignore them. And also don't keep them in the rooms away from you. Mother should primarily, a mother should be in the room with the children. This is the basis in Islam, I tell you. Because mother usually sleeps with the children. Because with this, a very close association is built up. And husband has his own room. So whenever they wish to be together, the wife and husband, they meet their husband's room. But wife generally stays with the children till the time they are independent, old enough to look after themselves, and she sleeps with her daughter this side, her son, 4 or 5-year-old son, she looks after them. And then I must come to another point which I forget about the maintenance of children health-wise. I told you many times, don't adopt the custom of the Kafirs. I noticed, kind of a stink in many houses. Well, I couldn't find out what was that. And then I discovered these our good Masturas use the pampers, I was told, pampers which they put panties or the shorts, pants for the children, infants. And there's so much advertisement going on the TV that the child is left as he or she is for hours, and nothing, and then they make a store of that, and it gives so much stink that sometimes I feel like vomiting. Our nose, I'm not used to these things. Remember, you cannot allow a Muslim children, they are pigs. These cows are pigs. Pig is, the property of the pig is, it keeps lying its own filth. It keeps lying, it lives in its own hole and inhales all the dirty air which it exhales, The pig, like there is kafir, their habits are very much like pigs and dogs. You watch a dog, you watch a pig, and you watch a wolf. You will find, and a monkey, all these animals, aggregate of the character, conduct of these animals is Kafir culture. And of course their faces also resemble. Somebody looks like, I don't want to go to that direction right now. I'm coming to this point. What I say, that you commit sin when you allow a pure, children of Islam, keep them, wrapped with their own filth. You cannot do that. You must follow the example of Muslim lady. They always have a long loin cloth, triangular. Every woman, every girl when she's married, and her mother teaches her those things in Islam, in the Muslim countries. Before she expects a baby, she had prepared a big basket in that she had at least 2 dozen long, loin clothes, and other things for the baby. and she's prepared. Moment the baby relieves himself, she takes that loin cloth and take it in the kitchen, hammam or a bathroom and washes it. And then washes it and puts it on the string for drying. And she covers the baby, or she uses the other dry one for the baby, other loin cloth, it is tied there. It's very simple. The loin cloth could be of a thick material or thin material. It is usually cotton. So she keeps on changing. There's no filth allowed for the baby to stay. It is sin, and don't do it. And more or less, it reflects the characters of pig. And same way, I'm coming down to the look after your children. They are trust of Allah. And in this country of Kufr, your children are our children. They are yours as long as you are looking after them. The moment we are convinced that you are not looking after them, we will take them away. Inshallah. We have established boys hostel, and inshallah very soon there will be girls hostel. But we will take all the children, because we don't wish the kafirs to come and take away your child, as saying that you have indulged in child abuse. Some parents have broken the hands, the arms of their children by beating them. They were talibs. Some had done bad things. Remember, your children are yours as long as, first I said, your children are trust of Allah in your home. Next, they are yours as long as you treat them according to the code of Islam. If you don't do that, we will take them away. Even if you are not in a Jamaat, we find out that you are a Muslim home and you are visiting your children are left in the filth, and you go out, and then we will definitely try to contact you, and maybe we will do something about that. Next come about the wives doing jobs. It has already been discussed. Am I right?
Yes.
We do not, as they say, this is not Darul Islam. It is Darul Kufr. In order to protect our honor and life, the Muslims here are allowed to do certain things as a stopgap measure, as a transitory measure, not permanently. Because a Muslim, as I told you, that you cannot accept to live in the Kafir society for a long time. We are one nation. Muslims are one independent nation which cannot accept the dominance of another nation or Kafir nation. Therefore, all that measures which we suggest to you regarding your railing, regarding your doing job, regarding all these things, they are all transitory till we establish a separate homeland for Muslims and have our own law, or we may quote martyrdom in this process of establishing a Dar es-Salaam, a country of Muslims, a separate country of Muslims, wherever the Muslims are, be it United States, be it Philippines, be it anywhere else. Because it is the way of the Muslims that they never live under the dominance of kuffar. They can never live under the law of ungodly. They can never adopt kafir customs. Therefore, you may, in order to protect the honor and integrity of the family and to raise children, wives may do jobs. Those jobs are already explained. There are certain jobs which you cannot do. For that, if you need clarification, you contact your nearest Amir or Naib or the Masjid, Regarding the dresses, it has been already explained that those working ladies, their dress and they can wear their hand and face. It has been explained. And next we come about, somebody asked me the television. Look, television, there are two ways. One is the legal justification I should give you, that how far you are legally allowed to watch TV, and other is just the explanation based on my own personal observation and some observation made by the scientist. Legally, you can watch TV. Those people who have been asked or who are responsible who would like to know what is happening in and out of the country, they can watch news. Number one, they can watch the sports, games and sports. Islam is not against them, but not boxing. Not boxing. Boxing is a remnant or revival of the pagan sports. In Islam, human face gets the most important place because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fashioned Adam alayhi salam, his face according to his own, way, very much like him. And Allah's name is written on face of every Muslim. Even if he's not Muslim, it has the significance, and your eyes are two hard, and this is the stem, and this is the wow. This is the who written on your face. And similarly, Allah, your lines of your beard, this jaws and this thing, all these are various, name of Allah, and Ism Allah is written on your face in one form or the other. And we Muslims are forbidden to even slap on the face. We never do it on the face of the Kafirs. Therefore, you must not hit anybody. You cannot hit anybody on the face. That's why boxing is not allowed. Hitting a person on his face in jest may be allowed but in love is allowed, alright. But you cannot hit a person, leave alone hitting with this knuckle, Therefore, boxing is un-Islamic. You might say, what about Muhammad Ali? Well, Muhammad Ali has his own way. He is a professional, he is a mercenary, he makes a lot of money. And the way he wants to behave like Muslim, he should grow a beard and wear his Muslim dress, because the Prophet said that you should be raised with, with the people with whom you have been living, and you follow the custom of those people with whom you live. He identifies himself with his dress, with his manner, with all the things, with the Kafir culture. That's against Islam. So about the boxing, he must know, and you must know, that it is un-Islamic. You may bring fatwa. You may bring fatwa from Sheikh bin Baz or from anybody, you can bring anything, but always there is one mufti here. Number one, then look back, go into Holy Quran, open it. If you don't find it there, see if Sayyidina Rasul Akram sallallahu alaihi wasallam did that thing. If you don't find it there, see if Holy Companion did that thing. If you don't find it there, see the followers of the Holy Companion, next generation did it. You don't find it, don't do it. Don't do it. The way these Najdis come, they say, well, you can eat any meat, even in haram meat, saying Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, and eat it. Ask those people that did Sayyidina Rasul Akram sallallahu alaihi wasallam ate that way? Or did any Holy Companion did that? Or did anybody else did that? Why you are doing it? This is what is bid'ah. This is what bid'ah. This is bid'ah sa'ah. This is the haram bid'ah. And this is the bid'ah. I don't wish to, but I want to save you from the pitfall. As I say, we are not against anybody. We have to mind our own business. We wish to reform our own people. We wish that the pure Islam, the way it was practiced at the time of Sayyidina Rasul Akram sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that is our goal. We dress up like that time. We do everything. We eat like it. You know very well how we eat. We spread a cloth, maida. Then we sit and all of us eat. About washing hands, I must tell you that usually it is expected if you visit somebody, the host, either he washes your hand or he keeps one table in the corner and have a basin on the floor and a pitcher on the high raised stool, and every guest goes in the corner and you stand there and your hand is washed. And once you have washed your hands for eating, to start with the eating, you don't want to wipe them with a towel, Then you eat, if there are your brother guests, you don't need to go around taking, pitcher and a bowl around it. You don't need to do that. It is only done when you have invited your sheikh or your, Naib or your elder, your teacher. This is a matter. But for your brother talibs, for your general guests, in the room where you go to eat, you can leave, in the same room, or you can have another room, or you can open the hammam door and say, please come and wash your hands here, and you bring them back. Or if you wish to do it in the room, same room, you can do it, or the next room, or on the way in. So it is not necessary that you should, but it is an honor which is shown to the teacher, to the sheikh, by talibs, by the students, and by the children to their father and mother, this you must remember. About eating habit, the eating habit is that principle. If we should try to have one dish at one time, if you have cooked one curry, one meat, and then that should be enough. That should be enough. 2 meals a day should be enough, You have your one meal in the morning hours, you may have it a little bit, so it should last you up to your supper time. And then before going to sleep, if you want to drink a little bit of milk or want to eat something, you should eat. But no activity, socialization and dinners and parties after Isha. In fact, as a matter of fact, after Salatul Maghrib, you should prepare yourself to stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Remember, every night your spirit, your soul, your ruh, we call ruh, stands before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He says in the Holy Quran that He takes hold of all the arwah, the souls of all the mankind, and He keeps them, meaning thereby they keep standing before Him or wherever they deserve to stand according to their deeds, and then they are sent back. Therefore, if you wish to stand in close proximity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because you do not know what happened at night, what you see in the dream, those are the impressions which are conveyed to you in similitude, generally, not in reality. You see? Therefore, as I say that after Isha, you should not indulge in any worldly pursuit, in worldly activity. No gossip, no laughing, no jesting, no belly laughters, All the things what you should do, you can do. If you can't go to sleep, you find out that you cannot go to sleep. You can read some book. You can read the Quran. You can read tafsir, commentary, anything which can establish rapport, or raise your knowledge about Islam. You understand what I mean? No worldly pursuit. Children should go in the room and people should start preparing to sleep. As you have been told earlier in the discourses, facing towards Qibla, with your hand under your head, and sleep with wudu, complete wudu, and reciting dua. And then when you inhale, when your breath goes in, make this habit, say in your heart, silently, without putting yourself in any exertion, Allah. When you breathe out, say Hu. Keep on doing that. It will take your soul higher and higher in close proximity to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and one good day you might see that process happening. So these are a few questions which were raised, and then about cooking, as I say, do not use too many utensils in the kitchen. Don't turn into a laboratory. All the things, try to use your own hand and simple thing. One of your sister, I don't wish to prolong it. I don't have so much time, but the same way, well, I'm told that there is some time I could right. Use as few utensils in the kitchen. Don't follow again the custom and because they want the kafir industrialists. They want to buy everything they make, and then they want to buy the following year. And so this is how they make money. In fact, you just need one board for making your roti, and 1 or 2 pans for curry and rice and frying eggs, etc. Don't have it. It is not done, And get rid of all these machines and all the things which are generally, we are simple people. If you remember one thing, always remember that we are travelers. We are muhajir, refugees and travelers in this world, and it will just finish up like that when the last hour of this life and the first hour of beginning will come. Think that way. The last hour of this earthly life and the first hour of our real beginning will come, which the Kafirs call death, and which we call Wasal, union. We call Wasal, and the Kafirs call death. You know, for them this extermination and this drives them. They die before their death also. That is, before their actual death comes, they suffer 99 types of diseases, you know, and complexes, and die of mental diseases as well, because they're so afraid of death. For us, death before dying is something else. That is mutu qabla to mutu. There's a different thing. Kafir also die before death, we also die before death. But let's not bring that thing here. I just want you to understand that when that hour comes on which we finish this imprisonment here and our first hour of freedom is granted, that time you will realize that you have lived maybe a day or half a day. So don't give yourself so much problem. Don't bother yourself so much and in beautifying your home and your kitchen and all the things. And next thing I come to the most important thing. Try to, whatever Kafir does in regard to eating habits or hammam habits, dressing habits, do it opposite. They're absolutely people who lack intelligence and common sense. Intelligence still big word, and aql is something, aql. The wisdom is only reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for mu'mineen. A person who is not a mu'min, he doesn't have aql. That is wisdom. These people are worse than animals. Now let's put the whole home in order. We have established the kitchen. Now let's go to the hammam. Your hammam, they are kafir hammams. Kafirs are kafir. We are Muslim. How could Muslim and kafir use and live and accept the same type of hammam? You have to divide and modify certain things. First of all, when you notice that kafirs generally have so much problem with their digestion and in going to the hammam, and they suffer from constipation, suffer from so much problems that it is one of their main ailment, you know. You notice when we eat, we sit in a proper position. We keep our one leg standing on one leg, one part of this, or we sit like this, as you notice like this. This is my leg, it is turned in, I'm sitting on the top of this, and this is the leg standing. And this way we eat. This is the correct position for the stomach to eat. The stomach is not all the way, spread out like that, and you fill it, and when you stand up, you find the whole food is coming up here. In this position, stomach is in best position like this, and then you fill it 1/3 air, 1/3 water, 1/3 food, right? And similarly, for relieving yourself, the scientific way is that you must sit on your left side, and exert, and so your muscles, they help you to relieve. And for that you must sit on your feet. But again, Allah's law has fallen kafirs. He has taken away all the intelligence from them. They sit in the chair-like thing, which they call commode, which does not give the body chance to function. It does not allow the function which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made to work. Know what to do in this situation? If you have a backyard or something, or you remove that thing and establish or install what they call Indian flush, Indian commode, which is sitting. If you cannot do that, then you raise from all the sides the wooden structure so you can sit on the commode and use that thing. It will never let you will have very good bones and you will have no problem, otherwise you keep on suffering from indigestion, from gas. And that will also cause many problems. That will cause you chronic headaches and all things. And this is very essential. You must do that. Regarding urinating in the water, it is forbidden. Makruh. It is makruh. It is not appreciated that you go to the hammam and you sit and urinate. Like living here, we try to go out in the backyard, or if you have a backyard, you mark some area. There we should go. If you do not have backyard, then some way should be devised that you do not have to. But if it has to be done, it should be done with kraha, with detestation. Some way should be found out. We found many ways to do that, but you must try to avoid urinating even in the, but if you have Indian flush you will call Indian commode, then you don't have to. It always remains clear. Only when you pull the chain, the water comes and washes down. Or you don't need to use a flush, you can just throw a little bit of water into that, it will wash down. But I've been told there are many problems, but we must do something about that. Maybe in the zawiyas, in the masjids, in a building where many Muslims are living, we should try to establish this thing. This was the most important thing. And regarding doing a wudu in the hammam, you must mark, you can straight away, if you have no, for instance in this house, I can go and do wudu in the kitchen, or I can take the pitcher of water, sit outside in the backyard or front yard, there is a grassy front yard, and do my wudu facing Qibla on a higher place. But if it is not possible, then I will go into the tub and close the door, or I will have a curtain parting that commode area, from the area where I am going to wudu. It should have hardwood partition. There you can go and do wudu. And remember, if you are going to do wudu in the hammam, as I said, in the partition, or in the tub, you close this partition, even then you should take a pitcher and you should pour water. What I do sometimes, if I have to do, I take a bowl, in the bowl I pour water, and then I just take water and make my wudu. You are not allowed to waste water, because this is discipline. It's a part of the discipline of wudu that you should wash your limbs at least once or twice or thrice. Your wudu is done, but not more than thrice, and you cannot use water more than prescribed. And I believe the maximum amount of water you can use for your wudu is not more than 1 kilo in weight, 2 pounds in weight. So try to remember that thing. It is too much. Even in half pound you can do wudu. Maximum is 2 pounds. So beware. Don't use water. Don't waste it, because it is a hadith of Salaam. Even if you are sitting on the bank of the canal, still you cannot exceed in the usage of water for your wudu. Therefore, remember this thing, because it's a discipline. It's a discipline. You must follow that and perform the wudu properly. You can do it while standing, if it has to be, but better is to sit. You can do it here in this room. Bring the bowl and a pitcher and sit on a wooden stool and do it. Another thing about, you must remember about what we call the leather socks. Here, this is the leather socks I'm wearing. For doing masa, you must do it with your left hand, and that's all. It is only allowed with leather socks, because the najis water, it can penetrate your woolen socks or other socks. It can dampen it. The najasa can influence, affect it. Therefore, we do not do masa on socks other than leather socks. While traveling or in jihad, you may do masa on your boots. That's the exemption. Remember, the law, Sharia for Mujahideen and the traveler and those muqim who stay in the house, A'adeen, who keep sitting in their home, is a different. About your clothes that we have discussed, and I have already explained about in this. I would say in the United States and in other countries as well, there are a Jamaat of Muslimin, and in some cases we have a Jamaat all over the United States who establishing Islamic law and who invite people toward Islam, and they are doing tabligh, and they see to it that Muslims do not fall victim of prey after the Kafir culture and custom, and they are not telling people to raise gun and fight the Kafir. We say about the United States, we say it is a country which belongs to all. All those who come here, they have their own culture, cultural pattern and religion to follow, and this country guarantees religious freedom. Therefore, we have no reason to tell you to go and kill non-believers, because you are in a country which acknowledges the religious freedom. Therefore, we have no reason. We have never said that, and we will never allow any Muslim to just make it a certain excuse since they are non-Muslim, and you should go and kill them and take away their property and deprive them of their money. Well, that is wrong, because this is a country which guarantees religious freedom, but at the same time it is not an Islamic country. In this case, it is a sort of country in between. So in order to regulate Islamic life and Islamic law, so that people at least enforce Islamic law in their person, in their home, and in their groups, that is why we have established these regions which are controlled by the Naib. Naibs and their Amirs, they are the heads of this area. They give you they decide your issues, your disputes, and all the thing in the as a jurist of Islamic jurisprudence, of Fiqh and Hanfiya. They also, give counsel to the wives and the husbands who have some disagreement, and they also enforce one very good law, at least among the Talibin, on divorce, that we don't encourage and we don't allow any Talib to divorce his wife, or nor we allow any wife, the Zawja, to leave the home without the permission of her husband. Well, I don't wish to repeat a thing, but all these regions, the United States, like other countries, is divided into regions, and each region is headed by a Naib, who represent this humble servant of Allah, and who regulates Islamic law, and who helps people to understand law, who organizes the course of studies into the Islamic law, and fiqh and hadith and Quran Sharif reading, and hifz and nazara. And he also is a deputy director of all those who are given authority of the Quranic Open University, invite people, and also shows them the films on the Quranic learning, on the Quran made easy, on Islamic law, which are all made on video cassettes. And he is my representative, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has willed that we enforce the law and the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So all the Naibs should be given respect in the absence of the Sheikh, as the respect is given to the Sheikh. This is for those who are attached with this Jamaat, and those who are not, they are always welcome to come and contact the Naibs or the Amirs, whenever they find any difficulty in understanding Islam, or if they wish to be converted towards Islam. Islam is the only religion which have no bars, the color, no segregation, all are one, and the best amongst the Muslimin, is the best in his taqwa, in doing good deed, in virtuous deeds. Therefore, naturally the Naibs are the guardians of the ideological frontiers of Islam in their regions. So be helped by them and help them to establish law and order. And again, coming back to this point, as I say, that we are doing tabligh. We do not advocate violence. On the contrary, we are looking, and we have been ever since, for the past 4 years, trying to establish very close, understanding with our Christian brothers, because Isa alayhi salam is the last second messenger of Islam, and Isa, or Jesus, son of Mary, he has got so many followers here, and we are the only people who have the evidence that he did exist, and he was not, the way some other people called him. So this is all that mentioned in the Holy Quran. So therefore, let every Muslim know, and every Talib know, and other people know that we do not propagate violence against other people, particularly in the United States. We do say, go and fight the communists. We were the first people who made a move on the Russians, particularly on jihad basis, but we don't believe, and we have never advocated that we like to make the United States a nice country to live in peace and harmony with each other. We would not like that our rights are exploited and confiscated, and we would not like other people to be deprived of their rights, you know. And it is a fundamental basic right to defend one's own right, you know, and that we shall defend, but we shall not go out of our way to offend other people. Therefore, those people who hardly go to masjid, who hardly know anything about Islam, and sometimes they think of, you know, depriving kafirs of their property, the money, or the wealth, saying that they are kafirs, I tell you that this is not valid according to Islamic law. You cannot do that. Other than this about your children, and I warn you about your children and about your adab, that Islamic etiquette. Islamic etiquette, you know, there's one book I was reading yesterday, it's written that the book, it warns the coming up of the Muslim as a world power, saying that that's the only religion which regulates its affair from the cradle to grave. Everything is regulated by law or by ordinance or by directive, even to the extent your pen and your maswak. You cannot throw this pen like this. You are working, you don't leave the pen on the floor. This is a letter, don't leave it on the floor and read it like that. The book, don't leave it on the floor and read like that. You must not leave anything which is read on the floor. Whatever you have to do, this is the place. I didn't have anything, I just got this box and I put my things. So all the things which have any written thing on them or which you have to read, they should come at this level, this is your level. This is a maswak, you can't throw it like that. You have to clean your teeth, it should be kept somewhere, you know, standing in the corner of the hammam, and don't throw it. When you have used it, you don't need it anymore, bury it, you know. And same with a pen. Don't throw this pen like this, or in the corner. This is the kafir custom, even if it's a ball pen. Anything with which you write, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give honor and regard to anything you use at the moment. So don't throw it this way, don't throw it that way. And the ink pot, those, your writing instruments and material, your maswak and your cap, don't throw your caps on the floor, please, for Allah's sake. Don't step on the caps or the clothes, your abba or your kharqa. You don't throw them on the floor, fold them properly or leave them. Even your ordinary wrap, you know, if you have to leave it in the corner, leave it in the corner, but nobody should step on that. Your shoes have right on you. Your shoes have right on you. So if you have laces on your shoes, tie them properly. If the shoes need polish, polish them. If you can't afford to polish them, buy such type of shoe which do not need polish. And when you have to wear them, don't press the heels, you know. It should come all the way up, you know. And don't walk around with a, you know, shoe this side and laces going that side, or you just go out. In case of emergency, I don't say, but your shoes have the rights. They should be properly maintained and thing. And don't wear torn clothes. I have seen some people, they just wearing some torn and they think it is part of it is not part of the, if the clothes are torn, sew them. It's alright to wear patched clothes, but it is not alright to wear torn clothes. And about the use of the perfume, either do not use perfume which have alcohol in them, and do not use those perfume which might cause other people annoyance, you know. Try to get Sayyidina Rasul Akram used henna, which is called in Makkah al-Mukarramah Aturul Hajar means stone, which we rub on Baitul actually, that stone there, you know, Hajar Aswad, henna in fairly cool climate, you know, is good. In winter it is good. Use it. Henna. But if it's very humid and stuffy, then you use rose, you know. And these are available, but you should be able to use good rose, but don't buy those 50-cent bottle perfumes, because they cause annoyance to people, you know. And the good perfume really costs some money. So if you happen to get good perfume, we call it either, so take this much cotton swab and put a little bit on there, keep it here. This is the place for it. Allah made it. Here. And keep it here, and all the day, when you do wudu, take it out, put it on a hard metallic surface, so it is not absorbed. You do your wudu and then again put it back. This way you can live with one swab of a good itar for 7 days or something like that. Because after some time you won't be able to smell your itar, but other people do smell. Use good itar. A henna or good misk, and don't use that. As I say, good misk costs some money. But it's better to use sometime once or twice a week rather than to use a cheap, every day. And about masturat, I have already told about the use of henna. That is the natural remedy for headaches, for heaviness of head, that you should, a natural dye for masturat. They must use henna. And I believe in Philly and other places, Talba, they already started using that. But remember that it should be used in a mild climate. If it's snowing outside, it's very cold, then you shouldn't use it. Similarly, your heritage is very long, your roots are very deep, your culture is very vast and big, and next time, Allah willing, you will be informed of how to use various herbs, for common remedies, which are very common, like cold, phlegm in the chest, sore throat, and other things, and making of these, using of various oils and other things. Inshallah, Allah willing, either this humble servant or one of your Naibs or senior Naibs, they will definitely inform you of that. And till that time, if you have any question, more information that we would like, that you would like me to speak on that, so you must write to that, to the centers, maybe in New York, that is Masjid Al-Fuqra, in Brooklyn, and you can ring up that place and contact some Naib, or wherever you can find somebody from our Jamaat, you can send your, if you would like to inform or further elaborated on these topics. Till then, we say Assalamu alaikum wa ma alayna illa al-balagh al-mubin wa sallallahu ta'ala ala khayri khalqihi wa nuri arshihi Muhammad wa alihi wa sahabi ajma'in bi rahmatika ya akbar.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. الله الرحمن الرحيم يريدون ليطفئوا نور الله بأفواههم والله متم نوره ولو كره الكافرون. This is an ayat from Surah Al-Saf. In fact, it is the 8th ayat from Surah Al-Saf. Its translation is, they wish or desire to blow out or extinguish the nur or the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with their mouths through lies, rumors, and the propagation of misconcepts. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses to perfect His nur, although the disbelievers are averse to it or dislike it. This ayat of verse from the Holy Quran Sharif, from Surah Al-Saf, is an ayat that is most apropos to the current situation existing today throughout the world. Those who disbelieve in the messengership of the Holy Apostle, alayhi wa salatu wasalam, are the words revealed by our Lord and sustainer Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through the mouth of the Holy Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, established in the Book of Allah, the Holy Quran Sharif, are trying to feed the peoples of the world who are ignorant about true Islam, misconcepts, distortions, and out-and-out lies, with the aid and support of Zionist plotters and usurpers hiding in the garb of Muslim teachers, scholars, and theologians. Due to these distortions, many divisions have evolved, leading many people unbeknowing away from the Islamic path of salvation to the shaitanic path of destruction and damnation. The beloved messengers, alayhimus salam, and peace be upon all of them, call the people of the world to Tawheed, the unity of Allah, the religion or the deen of Ibrahim, alayhi salam, Moses or Musa, and Jesus or Isa, alayhimus salam, and of course the last of the messengers, the Khatam al-Nabiyyin, establishing the finality of prophethood, messengership, and the completion of the revealed books through divine revelation or wahi, the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His mercy to the world, Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Through Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala perfected the religion of Ibrahim and the messengers and gave it or brought to the fore the name of the deen, calling it Islam. Islam is built upon 5 pillars. The attestation to the fact that there is no God but Allah and that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is His messenger. The establishment of the 5 obligatory prayers a day, or the salah. The payment of the poor rate, or the zakat. The fast of the month of Ramadan. The pilgrimage to the Kaaba, the house built by Abraham or Ibrahim alayhi salam and his son Ismail, once in a lifetime, if one is able. For each of these pillars, of course, there can be much more said. But the latter 4 pillars are of no value without the attestation to the first, bearing witness that there is no God but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is His messenger. This attestation, of course, opens the door to the pillars of faith, and they are to believe in Allah, His messengers, His angels, His books, premeasurement of all things good and evil, the last day, and the resurrection after death. The deen is simple. It is not complicated. It is without distortion. But yet, there are those who would try to add to or diminish Allah's religion, making ridiculous claims, twisting verses from the book of Allah, the Quran, to serve their friend, the devil. For example, there are those who claim the Ahmad mentioned in the Quran is Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, which is an out-and-out lie, and stands refuted and rejected by all of those who believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His beloved messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, those of the Ahlul Bayt, those of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. The so-called Ahmadis' purpose is to wage war against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and to weaken the force of Islam. The old adage, divide and conquer. That's why they receive much financial assistance from Zionists and those who support Zionism and other un-Islamic agencies. The role of the beloved messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam was to spread the clear message and remove obstacles of idolatry and falsehood from those seeking the faith of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This role of propagation has not changed. We, the Jamaat of Fuqra, find the need for clarification of these distortions most imperative and urgent. We pray that it will be most beneficial to those seeking to follow Islam in its true form. We request that you patiently and attentively listen to what's being presented, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant peace to all who follow the guidance.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا مولانا محمد وأصحاب سيدنا مولانا محمد وبارك والسلام عليه. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is the duty of the believer to enjoin what is right and to forbid evil. It is therefore our responsibility to use all our resources to expose evil and eliminate the same. With this point in mind, we call upon the Muslim Ummah to take quick and decisive action against a cancer, a malignant cancer that is being allowed to exist because of the general ignorance and lack of commitment of the Muslim Ummah the world over. This hideous disease that I speak of was developed in the diabolical laboratories of the devilish British imperialists with the purpose of quelling, or I should say destroying, real Islam by removing the very foundations upon which true Islam is based, namely the Holy Quran and Hadith of Rasuli Akram sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The intent was also to remove the love of the believers for the holy last messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and to remove the zeal of the Muslims for jihad against unbelief, falsehood, and evil, as well as to undermine the doctrine of the finality of the messengerhood of our beloved master Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. These less than beast-like beings, the British, hatched their design in the last decade of the 19th century in the guise of an organization known as the Ahmadiyya movement, named after one of the most, if not the very most, venomous viper since Ibn Saba, pretended to become Muslim, and directed a most vicious slander campaign against Rasuli Akram sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Ahlul Bayt, and the Hasib. His slander campaign eventually caused enough dissension within the ranks of the Muslims to instigate the killing of Muslims by Muslims, and the rise of the non-Muslim Shia group or cult was also a result. The projected leader of this organization was one schizophrenic imbecile of repugnant character by the name of Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani. Henceforth, I will refer to this organization as the Qadiani movement, so as not to utilize and or cause any link between these scorpions and the blessed name of the Holy Last Messenger Ahmad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What follows is a brief historical sketch of Qadianism, which is related so you may develop a picture of the political climate prevalent at the birth of this stench in India. The British were occupying India, and the spirit of jihad flowed through the Muslim Ummah. There was also widespread support for the Caliphate. These British dogs realized that they could not destroy or defeat Islam from the outside, so they prepared their deranged agent to declare himself a prophet of Islam. He first declared himself a reformer, then the promised Mahdi, Jesus, and then a prophet who received divine revelations, Wahi, Astaghfirullah. He then issued a fatwa declaring jihad against the British dogs haram for the Muslims. With that thought in mind, all the anti-Islamic and anti-Muslim forces provided the Qadianis with huge amounts of material resources and financial support. The members of their organization were also placed in high government posts during the British regime. The Hindus gave them support, and the Jews provided them with arguments and literature against the accepted principles and fundamental beliefs of Islam. Dr. Shankar Das expresses the thoughts of the Hindus pertaining to the Ahmadis. And I quote, "The most crucial question before the country at this juncture is how to achieve the spirit of nationalism in India. Sometimes bargaining, mutual treaties, and pacts are entered into with the Muslims. Sometimes resort is taken to bribery to win them over. At other times, part of their religious affairs are made politics, and a political unity is sought to be achieved. But none of these methods succeeds. The Indian Muslims consider themselves to be a separate nation. They sing the praises of the Arabian prophet day in and day out. If they could, they would change the name of India into Arabia. In this gloom and despair, the Indian nationalists and patriots see only one light, and that friendly vision is the Ahmadiyya movement. Only the growth of the Qadiani movement amongst the Muslims can end Arabian culture and pan-Islamism." This excerpt comes from a book entitled Qadianiyat, written by Ihsan Zahir. If you reflect on the facts in this quote, you will easily be able to see the reason why the Qadianis, generally called Ahmadis, are given such liberty and support in the United States, Africa, South America, Israel, and throughout most of the world, including Pakistan. No doubt, the world powers who in fact fear the growth of Islam have been and are employing the Qadianis in the same fashion as the organization was originally utilized for, and that was and is destroying real Islam. The heathen Zionists support the Qadianis openly, and the Qadiani Center in Israel is situated in Haifa at Mount Carmel. In their huge complex, they have a house of worship, a mission house, a library, a book depot, and a school. They also have a monthly publication that is distributed to at least 30 countries. Do you think that these swine would be allowed to operate with such freedom if they propagated true Islam? These pagan governments are allowing these Qadianis to employ all their tactics with the intent of directing new converts and ignorant Muslims to the false tabligh in ideology of these Mu'tadeen. As Imam of Masjid Al-Fuqra, Brooklyn, New York, it is my duty to inform you, Muslims and non-Muslims, of the devious plot of these enemies of truth. These Qadiani devils profess Islam, and they declare anyone who does not accept their false prophet and doctrine as kufr. By their own statements, they condemn themselves, and in accordance with the Sharia, they are no more than Murtadeen or rebels. And according to the Holy Quranic injunction, they deserve the usual punishment prescribed by Islamic law for the apostates and conspirators and fabricators of lies against the Holy Quran, Islam, the Holy Messengers, and Ahlul Bayt. Without further ado, I present to you Hazrat Sheikh Pir Saeed Mubarak Ali Gilani Al-Hashimi Al-Hasni wal-Husseini, who will present to you certain irrefutable evidence in support of the Muslims' position in relationship to the Ahmadis. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله على رسول الله. By now you are aware of the topic which is under discussion. The topic deals merely with the conspiracies hatched against Islam in the past many centuries. It's a long story, full of tragedies, treacheries, and massacres. It would have been quite simple approach for me if I had straightaway gone to the main topic which we have chosen, that is to inform you of one of the most dangerous conspiracy ever hatched by enemies, and that is Qadianism, or generally called Ahmadis or Ahmadis movement in Islam. But remembering that roots of such fitna, as we call it in Arabic, fitna, mischief or evil, goes long way back in the history. Even if we go beyond the messenger of Sayyidina Rasulullah, we find that even the second last messenger of Islam, Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, also suffered from the hands of the conspirators. His teachings were distorted very soon after his raising up in the heavens, namely by one Yahudi, a Jewish racialist, Saul, who was originally a tormentor, a persecutor of the Muslims who believed in the divine message brought by Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. Remember that from Adam alayhi salam to the last messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, all were Muslims and all brought one and the same message, that is Al-Islam. So Isa alayhi salam was the Prophet of Islam, and his teaching, Injil and the Article of Faith, suffered such setback from the hands of the Zionists when I say Zionist, even at that time, the group of Jews, as you know, the working against Isa alayhi salam, and they had joined hands with the Herod, the Roman king, and they conspired with the king, and they brought to trial Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala manifested his help to him, and the traitor, the main consecrator, Judas, he, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as said in the Quran, was transformed into the shape of Isa alayhi salam, and while Isa alayhi salam was lifted up, Rafa, word into the sky, alive, physically alive, and is still alive. It's a part of the essential article of faith of Islam to believe that Isa alayhi salam was lifted physically alive, and he is very much alive with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he shall come down and will once again restore Christianity to Islam and other religion, break the crucifix, kill the swine, guard the hadith of Nabi Sallallahu, and shall get married and die a natural death, and shall be buried in the space left in the mausoleum of the Holy Messenger Sallallahu at Medina to Munawwara. The place is still reserved for Isa alayhi salam, generally called Masih bin Maryam. So Saul, generally known as Paul, he was a Yahud. He distorted the teaching in such a way that people were confused. And the message was very simple, that there is no God but Allah, and Isa alayhi salam is the rule of Allah. La ilaha illallah, Isa, rule Allah. That was the kalma, the declaration of the creed of the Muslims of that time. But there comes the Yahudi, the Jewish consecrator. They say, well, you could not understand him. He was God. He was God because he could perform miracles. He would make, out of the clay, he would make bird and blow. This is law, and the clay bird will become a living bird. You know by now in Holy Quran, there are so many miracles mentioned, because Isa alayhi salam was manifestation of Allah's ruh. Therefore he had the breath, life-giving breath, which gave life physically to birds and to dead. So that is a bit going beside the point right now, but as I say, that you must believe that Isa alayhi salam was lifted up alive according to the Quran, and is still alive, and he is yet to come. And his teachings were distorted by Paul, and from that time onward, the whole world suffered. See how many millions and millions of people, they killed each other on that issue which he brought, and he caused dissension amongst the Muslims, who were actually Muslims, whom these Kafirs here called Christians, because they had their gospel. So many people got killed. Even today and in the past, Roman Catholic killing Protestants and Protestant killing the other one, all because one shaitan believes, he could not destroy Islam propagated by Isa bin Maryam, so he joined the ranks, and then he views his position. On what? He said that while traveling from Damascus, the holy light fell on him and knocked him out, and he saw something, and he heard a voice and commissioning him to go and preach. This is a clear case of possession and epilepsy, in which he suffered. All suffered from the epileptic fit. This is from shaitan. Now we come to the last and the final stage of the completion of the religion, which brought by all the messengers, which was to reach its climax, in the shape of Deen of Islam, in the messengerhood of the last messenger, last of all, Sayyidina Muhammad, Muhammad Mustafa, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. There was no doubt about that thing. In the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that Rasulullah is Khatam al-Nabiyyin, the last of the messengers. And in Hadith in Bukhari Sharif, it is also mentioned that Allah Khatam al-Nabiyyin, and the last of the messengers, La Nabiyya Ba'adi, there is no Nabi after me. This is Hadith in Bukhari Sharif. Nobody ever doubted that there is going to be, the Holy Quran is the last book, last revealed book. Wahi, the divine revelation in shape of Wahi, is finished, stopped. Nobody can claim that he received Wahi, because Wahi is binding on all the followers of him. Hamile Wahi, meaning they bind prophet or messenger. We remember, we always use word messenger, not prophet or Nabi. There is no Wahi after Holy Quran, there is no revealed book after Holy Quran, there is no religion other than religion of Islam. In Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that only deen, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala recognizes is Islam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not recognize any other religion, and there is no other religion. Whatever there is, those are the groups and jamaats and communities of the rebels, offshoots of the rebels. Those people who broke away from Islam. Other people call them Jews. They are the Muslims who broke away from Islam and followed their own desires of the nafs. Christian, they do not follow Isa alayhi salam. Similarly, you find in the time of Sayyidina Rasulullah Hazrat Ali Karamallahu wajah, and the family of Ali Bad. Of course, people loved them, but you could not love them, in a way that they become your God, they become your statues. But we find that one Yahudi who was all the time working in Islam and he couldn't achieve his objective, so he became Muslim. That's Abdullah bin Sabah. Abdullah bin Sabah. And he brought out the same belief which Saul, the Paul brought. Same thing he brought, because the enemy is the same and the deen is the same. So he brought out this thing that injustice was done to the Ahl Bayt, because Ali Karamallahu should have been a caliph, whereas Abu Bakr became the caliph. This is the right of the Ahl Bayt has been usurped. He brought this doctrine that Abu Bakr Siddiq and Umar they were the one who deprived the Ahl Bayt, particularly Ali Karamallahu of his khilafat, and Sayyidah Fatima Zahra, Khatun al-Jannah, of her legal right to own the garden of it. Whereas Sayyidina Ahmad Murtaba Muhammad Mustafa said that we Ambiya Mursaleen do not leave any heritage, Warasa, and we are buried wherever we die. That all the Ambiyas, wherever they die, they are buried in the same place and they do not leave any property. These are hadiths in Bukhari Sharif, right? But Yahudis again say that they made a cult, a party within the Muslimin, and they said, you must have pity on Ahl Bayt, you must have this thing, that Ali Karam was the rightful. So with this, a group was called Shia. Shiite, is a group, a Jamaat, which broke away from the Muslimin, and this is how the ascension was caused in Islam, and eventually we find that Shiaism developed into its own independent religion. It believes in the doctrine, it believes in the doctrine of Imamah. The doctrine of Imamat or Imamah, which according to their belief, the words of Imam are Wahi. The words of Imam supersede everything, the teaching of Holy Quran and all of it. This is the basic, the crux or the pivot of the Shia is that their present Imam words are law. By believing this, they negate the finality of the Messiahhood and Abu Wahi and Holy Quran and being the last revealed book. And they also do not believe in making salah. It is recently they have established, they go to the Masjid in order to sabotage this thing. They do not have any Sharia. They have their own religion. They call themselves Mu'mineen. They never call themselves Muslimin. But it was a part of the British conspiracy that they brought up the Shias in India as projected them as sect of Islam in order to destroy and cause the ascension Islamic unity and finality of the Messenger and the teacher of the Quran. Shias were also projected and brought up as sect of Islam. The Islam is sect. Remember, we do not have sects in Islam. We do not have sects. Remember that thing. There is no such thing as Sunni Muslim and there is no such thing as Shia Muslim. You are just a Muslim if you are a Muslim. You may be a good Muslim, you may be a bad Muslim. You may be a weak Muslim, you may be something else. But just to call every Muslim must believe in Sunnat of Rasul Akram Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, or you call him Sunnat Ahl Jamaat, the people of Sunnah. So every Muslim is automatically a follower of Sunnah. So he who follows Sunnah is a Muslim. He does not follow Sunnah, he is not a Muslim. So how come you call somebody is a Sunni Muslim? Sunni means a follower of Sunnah, and a Shia Muslim. These are the considerations of present day time Yahud, The way, this is a month of, 1983 October. And if you go back the last month's newspaper and Time and Newsweek, you will find that the battle was going on in Beirut, and these people writing the Druze Muslim. So we were wondering who are the Druze Muslims, and they kept on writing a Druze Muslim till they were able to arrive at a compromise with Druze Muslim. So when these Druze joined Christian, and then they wrote in the last week Newsweek or Time that Druze have their own religion. The same way, the press in the United States, in England, and everywhere, it says the Shia Muslim. There is no such thing as Shia Muslim. Shia have their own religion. They do not call us as the core religions. They do not acknowledge us as a part of the sect of their religion. Everything what they believe is diametrically opposed to Islam. And now with Khomeini, total destruction and killing and murder of thousands and thousands of Muslims is taking place. That is what we are paying for being ignorant or remaining ignorant about Islam and calling these people as a part of Islam. They are not at all. So this is the conspiracy against Islam, which inshallah I will deal sometime in the future, informing you about the beliefs of these conspirators from their books, not from our books. What they write about us, what they write about Sayyidina Rasulullah. There nobody in Iran says La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. They say it here because it's part of the conspiracy to cheat people by saying this thing. But in Iran, no Shia says La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. It is, they say La ilaha illallah Durood bar Khomeini. Allahu Akbar Khomeini Rahbar. Rahbar means guide. Allahu Akbar Khomeini Rahbar. Allahu Akbar Khomeini is the guide. We say Allahu Akbar Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam Rahbar. So till the time that you are able to see and listen to my discourse about the Shiaism, this little bit introduction should be enough for you to remember that Shiaism is an independent religion which is number one enemy of Muslimin. And right now we are dealing with another enemy which was brought up by the British in India in 1880. I'm just giving all of this discourse offhand. I don't have all these books giving the exact dates, but I would say all this. I would just say the era or the period. That was all the kafir world. I would say kafir world, the Christians and Jews of the world. They had been waging war against Islam since a long time. The Crusades, you know by now that, And even now, the crusade in Lebanon is going on the same way. All the German, French, all these American, the British, the Australian, everybody is being represented in Eurasian to defend Baitul Maqdis. This is the last crusade, I tell you. The British and they had joined ranks to destroy the Khilafat Muslimin in the last half of the last century, or last of part of the last decades, I would say 1860 onward. And up till the Khilafat established by Sayyidina Rasulullah was still existing then, even in 1880, it was actually existing up to 1920 and some years beyond that. But at that time, in 80s of the last century, the Khilafat, the Muslim rule in the European and Asian world was tremendously large. It enveloped a large area. I mean, if you look at this atlas, I mean, Turkey, the huge country itself, then the Khilafat, was covering Bulgaria, Yugoslavia, Hungary, Magyar, Romania, and Bulgaria was Bulgaria, and part of the Russia, USSR, all going up to Turkestan, called Bukhara, Samarkand, Herat, and all these, if you might see these red lines, these dots here in the European map. So Khilafat of the Muslimin was a very huge, and even the kings and the rulers in Africa and India and elsewhere, they accepted the sovereignty of the Khalifa at, Istanbul, as if they are head, like the Pope, or as they acted as his viceroy. So in these 80s of the last century, they pitted all their resources and powers, all the coffers joined hand, the way they are joined now, to destroy the Islamic world and cause dissension among the ranks of the Muslims. So multi-pronged conspiracies were made. First was to destroy the Khilafah. And the Zionists came. They started digging their, roots in that part of the country. In Turkey, they started working there. And then the British had a very good idea, because the missionaries worked in India for about 100 years, and they could not convert more than a handful of people into fold of Islam. The British were very much, the missionaries were very much shocked. So they conspired. In 1880, as the news reference, I can quote the newspaper, a meeting of these priests, the church father, you can say, was held in England. And they said that as long as the Muslims of India, because they were fighting jihad against the British, as long as there is a love for the Holy Messenger in the hearts of the Muslims of India and elsewhere, and they have the Holy Quran with them, the jihad, the doctrine of jihad will never allow us to dominate them. So it is essential for us to find a way and means to undermine the doctrine of jihad and the messengerhood and Holy Quran teaching, so that we should adopt certain measures by which the love, the attachment of the Muslims with the Sayyidina should decrease to the minimum. In this regard, they start looking for somebody who should declare himself as a false prophet, as they say, or the messenger. And this was their last chance, or the trump card, to raise a false prophet amongst the Muslims in India to cause dissension among them, to declare jihad haram, and to bring a book parallel to Holy Quran containing the wahys of the shaitan. Therefore, they looked all around, and around 80, 90 to 95, they were able to contact one of their minor servant, government servant, in the district court, of a district in India, the city of India, a person named Mirza Ghulam Ahmad of Qadian, a dope addict, a person who himself writes in his books, in his letter, in his petition to the viceroy and governors of India, that his father and his forefather, they rendered invaluable service to the cause of the British in 1857. 1857 meant actually in 1857 the Muslims in India waged a jihad, all-out war of independence against British in 1857, in which 1 or 2 million Muslims were martyred. By the British, they were blown to pieces, tied with the guns, heavy guns, and they were, every imaginable cruelty was committed, and that revolution, the first revolution in 57, was crushed. And in his letters, which I can quote from his books, that he wrote the British, that his grandfather had rendered invaluable service to the cause of the British. In 1857, the man born traitor, blood of a traitor in his vein from the very beginning. He belonged to the family which helped the kuffar to fight their own Muslim brethren. And he made it a point to gain favor from the British governor and the viceroy. So they found a man in the person of Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani. Remember, his name is Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani. Ghulam means servant, Ghulam Ahmad, servant of Qadiani. His name is Ghulam Ahmad, not Ahmad. There are people who are Ahmad, right? But his name is Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani. He always wrote this name. And they found this man. And they gave him guidelines. First he was told to declare himself a reformer, Muslim, reformer. He said he's a reformer, like any sheikh, like anybody. People didn't mind. Then he started reforming, talking about Islam and everything. Then after about 10 years or so, in the early part of this century, he declared himself Mahdi, the promised Mahdi. Now Mahdi, according to Hadith and Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, I have these Hadiths here, and you should have to look at, you should look at the Bukhari Sharif. You can read the translation or Mishkat Sharif. And Bab al-Fitr on Hadith, read Hadith on Imam Mahdi. He has yet to come. He is going to be descended from the Bani Hashim. His father's name is going to be the same name as Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and his Walda is mother, Ummi. Ummi or Walda. Name is going to be the same, and Rasulullah described the closest resemblance to himself. And to the extent that when he would talk, he would strike his, thighs like this while talking, and he would have some sort of lukna, what you call slight stammering in his pronunciation. And he would come, he would be in the time at Madinatul Munawwara, and he would come to Mecca al Mukarramah and declare his Mahdiya. And then he would fight with Dajjal, and he would be joined by Isa alayhi salam. All the hadiths are here, very much in all the hadith books. We never had it doubt. So then he says, and the people thought he's gone mad, because your name is Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani. Mirza is meaning that he belonged to family of the Mongols, who ruled India, and he must be one of the descendants of those the Mongols who came in millions, in India. His family is called Mughals or Chogtai. Mirza is when somebody calls him a Mirza, it also means that he may be descendant of the Mongols or Mughal. We call him Mughal, in America it's a Mughal, but it is a Bedouin Mughal. So people thought he'd gone mad, but nevertheless, he kept gaining some ground, and then a time came when he said he is Masih, the promised Messiah, they call, meaning thereby Sayyidina Isa bin Maryam. And that time came, then he said that he is Nabi, a prophet, and he receives Wahi, and he started mentioning his Wahi in his 30-40 books, Ahmadiyya, and the Safina Najat, and the Safina Nu, and all these books he wrote. But who would believe in him? Nobody. But the British, what they started with, they said anybody who would believe in this shaitan, they would give him either a job or land or some other thing. So only people had to go to him and declare their allegiance to him and get a receipt, a voucher, a ticket from him. That they would take the police department, the British would give them a job. If they take the army, they would get employment in the army or the railway, or if they go to the revenue or the land department, they would get land. And this is how this thing spread, and this is how it's spreading right now. So this man, when he declares himself Nabi or Prophet, the first thing he does, he declares that jihad is haram. Because at that time, in the time when the Churchill was fighting along with the other British officers in the northwest of India, and they were fighting and they were getting terrible defeat after defeat, and they were not able to conquer the major part of India, which now form major part of Pakistan as well. Because of jihad, the ulama, the mashayikh, all would come out and fight the British on jihad level. So this man comes up and he says, there is no need to do jihad because the British are very benevolent rulers, because we should obey Ulatiullah wa Rasul ul Amr minkum. And I will come to the quoting to these things from their books, which the quotations from their books have been collected in this book, you know. This is a book known as Qadiani Mazhab Ka Ilmi Muhasba. Qadiani religions, you know, that accountability or the critical analysis, you know, textual analysis, critical analysis of the Qadiani religion by one professor, Muhammad Alias Barni, who was the chairman or dean of the Department of Economics, Osmania University, Hyderabad, India. These 6 languages, we will have Hamd Bari Ta'ala, which is the Kalam of Ali Karamullah wa Yahya Ta'ala, which is recited by Khalil Sadiq, Qadi Muhammad in Arabic. Then we will have Naat in Urdu, then we will have Naat in English, then we will have Naat in Sindhi language, then we will have Naat in Arabic, then we will have Kalam of Sultan Afis Sultan Bahu in Punjabi. So this is the beauty of the universality of the religion of Islam, that it transcends all the barriers of the languages, the cultures, and all other. Therefore, we should understand the deeper meaning of the Islamic culture. That is, we should forget about being American, being African, being Indian, Pakistani. We should be all Muslims, following the culture of Islam and forgetting about the subcultures which are practiced all over the world in many Islamic societies and countries. Alhamdulillah, so we will commence with the Hamd Bari Ta'ala, which is a very famous kalam, very famous invocation and dua before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which Ali Karamullah wa Yahya Ta'ala composed. And this dua is read at Tahajjud by the Talibs, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always listens and answers this dua. So please listen to carefully, and if Allah gives you himmah, try to memorize it and read it and seek Allah's favor. Subhanallah.
Ya Sami Dua Iwa Ya Rafi السماء ويا دائم البقاء ويا واسع العطاء لذي الفاقة العظيم ويا عالم الغيوب ويا غافر الذنوب ويا ساتر العيوب ويا كاشف الكروب عن المرهق القديم ويا فائق الصفات ويا مخرج النبات ويا جامع الشتات ويا منشئ الرفات من الأعجم الرميم ويا منزل الغياث من الذل القصاص على الحزن والدماس إلى الجوع الغراس من الهزم الرزوم ويا خالق البروج سماء بلا فروج مع الليل ذي البلوج على الضوء ذي البلوج يغشي سنا النجوم ويا فالق الصباح ويا فاتح النجاح ويا مرسل الرياح بكورا مع الرواح فينشالي بالغيوم ويا مرسي الرواسخ أوتادها الشوامخ في أرضها السوانخ أتوادها البوادق من سوءه القديم ويا هادي الرشاد ويا ملهم السداد ويا رازق العباد ويا محيي البلاد ويا فارج الغموم ويا من به أعوذ ويا من به ألوذ ومن حكمه النفوذ فما عنه لي شذوذ تباركت من حليم
This is the translation of the dua of Hazrat Ali Karamallahu Wajhi. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. O hearer of the dua, the one who has raised the skies high, the eternal and the great bestower for the poor and the starving. O knower of the invisible, the forgiver of the sins, the coverer of the faults, and the dispeller of the calamities, of the silent sufferer. O the one with exalted attributes, who caused the plants to grow forth, the gatherer of the multitude of various things, the one who brings forth life from scattered dust and rotten bones. O he who sends down the rain and moves the clouds upon the soft and hard soils for the starving, hungry. O the creator of the Buruj, 12 houses in the sky, and the skies without fault, along with the night which enters the day and takes the light of the stars away. O the creator of the morning, the opener of the doors of salvation, the sender of the breezes in the morning and in the evening, which produces clouds and rain. O the one who has fixed the mountains like high pegs unto his strong earth, whose hillocks are like mountains, a wonder of his ancient handiwork. O the one who guides with the guidance, the sender of noble inspirations, the Razik, one who gives provisions of mankind, the giver of life to the Bilad, the countries, and the dispellers of grief. O the one whose protection I seek, and I make him my helper, whose command is always obeyed. Thus I shall not detach myself from thee. Blessed you are, O you compassionate. O the one who grants freedom to the prisoners, mender of the broken hearts, and the bestower of wealth unto the poor. O the guardian of the infants, and the healer of the sick. O the one on whose account I am honored, and I am protected from calamities and debasement. Save me from the sorrows, and protect me from the jinn kind and the worldly people, because they make us forget the hereafter, and they harden the heart, making it unmindful of ma'ad, and save me from the nafs, the rebellious, and its cursed shaitan. O the one who sends down the rizq, provisions, unto mankind and the beasts, and to the offspring of the birds in the nests, be it the food, down or wings, holy thou art, O you knower. O the one who holds the foreheads of all by their forelocks, be they obedient or disobedient, because no one can run away from you, be he one of the past or of the present. O the one in whom is found the best recompense, and who is pleased by our mere beliefs, and his commands are issued forth whenever necessary, exalted thou art, O you wise. O the one who has encompasseth us, grant us riddance from miseries, vast is thy kingdom, and whose flawless justice reaches both the good and the bad. O he who beholds our vision and hears our speech, who divides our provisions according to his best count with just divisions. O ye the hearer, whose throne is high, and who has brought forth strange and mysterious creations, and whose neighbor is protected from the oppression of the oppressor. O the one who bestows, and whatever thou bestowest, thou does it well. O the one who looks after us and gives according to our need by virtue of thy favors. O the helper of the weak and the refuge of the destitute, blessed you are, O the benefactor, merciful and compassionate, knowing us well, O you exalted. O the one who has given just judgment about the life of all beings, bringing mu'at, departure from this world for all. Thus have no fear from the mu'at and the destiny. Thou beholds me, but I cannot behold thee. And who is my Rabb save ye? Lead me unto thy guidance, and save me from the destruction, for the sake of your vigilant eyes.
ويمنزل الماشي على الناس والمواشي والأفراح في العشاشي من الطعام والرياشي تقدست من عليم.
الله عليك يا رسول الله وسلم عليك يا حبيب الله صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله وسلم عليك يا حبيب الله شم امید دل میں جلائے ہوئے شمع امید دل میں جلائے ہوئے میرے آقا تمہارے غلام آئے لے کے اشکوں کا نذرانہ مختصر آپ کو پیش کرنے سلام آئے لے کے اشکوں کا نذرانہ مختصر آپ کو پیش کرنے سلام آئے
Hanafi Sheikh, that is my goal. Hanafi Sheikh, good for my soul. Spiritual leader Murshid Kamil, a gift from Allah sent by His will, educating us in ways of jihad that we may fight fi-sabilillah, hoping the steps we take will lead to Hanafi Sheikh. Hanafi Sheikh, that is my goal. Hanafi Sheikh, good for my soul, to become one with you, following the good things you do, following your every command, placing my hand in your hand, lead me to Hanafi Rasul, Hanafi Rasulullah, here or hereafter means naught. Hanafi Rasulullah, living Islam he taught, that Father is a path full of light, distinguishing the wrong and the right. Follow the Sunnah in every way. Kneel before your Rabb and pray, Ya Rabb, humility please bestow, and my nuri being may grow into a seeker true. Hanafi Rasul, Hanafi Rasulullah, that is my goal. Hanafi Rasulullah, good for my soul. to travel far to follow Allah, follow Allah, home sweet home, follow Allah, kneel before the throne. Kun fayakun be, and it is the sovereignty is His, and then if to become one, don't stop when the immediate task is done. Strive hard for follow Allah, follow Allah. That is my goal. Follow Allah, but for my soul, annihilation, that is the key. Die before your death, become free, submit to Allahu Ahad. Let people throw trash, let them throw mud. It doesn't matter if you desire follow feel who, follow feel Allah, follow feel who, follow feel Allah, follow feel who. Annihilation, that is the key. Die before your death, become free, submit to Allahu Ahad. Let people throw trash, let them throw mud. It doesn't matter if you desire follow feel who, follow feel Allah, follow feel who. Coming home, la makan lahu.
Mustafa jenat ji ajrat ama filhite, noor je barsat hai barkat ja badal hite. नूर जे बरसात बरकात जा बादल हिते अज अक़ीदत ऐं मोहब्बत जा निशावर गुल कबा आशिकनि जे बात वाई मरहबा लख मरहबा अज अक़ीदत ऐं मोहब्बत जा निशावर गुल कबा आशिकनि जे बात वाई मरहबा लख मरहबा अज फरिश्ता आसमाननि खां थिया नाज़िल हिते नूर जे बरसात बरकात जा बादल हिते मुस्तफ़ा जे नात जी अॼु रात महफ़िल हिते नूर जे बरसात बरकात जा बादल हिते
Inshallah, we will have a club of Mahbub Sabani, Wazir, Lamukani, Hostel Al-Masjid Al-Gilani, his club in Persian language, by Khalil Sadiq Qadi Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala sallam.
देही जाबाना दरा अज दरे काशानाए माँ के कसेली जबाना दरा आज दरे काशानाए माँ फितना अंगेज मशहूर काकुले मुश्की मकुशा ताबे जंजीर नादारत दिले दीवानाए माँ ताबे जंजीर नादारत दिले दीवानाए माँ
Amir Muhammad Abdul Kareem from the United States, which he has written himself, as most of the people have done. Let's hear what he has to say about this.
Relax. How do you contain your beauty? For I cannot even contain your glance. It pierces like a lance the very deepest chambers of my heart. Your name lights me up, and as the full moon fills the night, I illuminate. Your beauty intoxicates me. I shy away from crowds when you're around because drunk men speak too loosely. Yet when I'm sober and alone, I secretly, I silently, seclusively, in my heart and with my speech, chant incessantly my love for thee.
Recite.
The next poem is called Ecstasy. These poems I've written are all about love of Allah and how His love has affected my heart and my relationship with Islam. Ecstasy. The ecstasy from your love stays with me. I cannot shake what has engulfed me. Tellers, please tell me, what defense has a leaf against the gushing wind? When the power of your love overwhelms me, my soul begins to shake, then spin like a leaf engulfed by the wind. This last poem is called Allah's Love. Your love has risen inside my heart like the sun, then fades out the darkness of the love of the world and its twilight hue. I only see you. I only see you. One moment absorbed in you is worth all the diamonds and gold and gems the earth could possibly produce. O materialists, why dispute? The secret of life is within you. The majesty of Allah's love cannot be reproduced. Allah is unique. Allah is Wadud.
From quite a distance to attend this mahfal or majlis or session of glorification of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and praise of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah bless you.
الصلاة والسلام عليك يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا حبيب الله
जहान नफ्स जहान नहीं, यही फूल खार से दूर है, यही शमा है कि धुआं नहीं। बाखुदा खुदा का यही है दर, नहीं और कोई मफर मकर, जो वहाँ से हो यहीं आके हो, जो यहाँ नहीं वो वहाँ नहीं। वही नूरे हक वही ज़िल्ले रब, वही नूरे हक वही ज़िल्ले रब, है उन्हीं से सब, है उन्हीं का सब। नहीं मिल्क में उनकी ये आसमां के ज़मीन। You will find that in many instances the British used them, and they would distribute these wahis of Mirza amongst Mujahideen, so telling them that the new messenger have come who have declared jihad haram. So you will find there's so much which I cannot, mention here even. I say that he has written hundreds and hundreds of books, and there is no end to their lives. And as I told you, according to Sharia, if one person is found that he tells lies, and there are two people who give written evidence that he is a liar, then that person should not be believed. Coming back to this is Ahmadiyyas, or this is not their name, by the way, because any Muslim calling them Ahmadi, in fact, will commit sin. We only call it in order to identify that these Qadianis or the Mirzais, they call them Ahmadi because they believe that the Holy Quran containing the prophecy of coming, the name of Prophet Rasulullah Ismahu Ahmad is the name of this dog. About these people, they are worse enemy than Zionists. They are working hand in hand with Zionists, and they are agents of all imperialist government. And right now they are agents of all those agencies which are trying to cause dissension amongst the Muslims, and which are day and night working hard to keep Muslims under their tyrannical and despotic rule. And these people are their instrument. So wherever you find them, I would say that you avoid them. The very fact that you have the knowledge now, you will be saved from their vile and false propaganda. I do not wish you to become very much agitated on that, because all the Muslims living in the Kafir countries, it is not their duty to undertake certain measures, because it is for an Islamic state to declare them murtad. And as a matter of fact, in 1974, a pan-Islamic conference was held at Jeddah, in which 42 Islamic countries participated, and they unanimously declared Qadianis, Mirzais, and those people as murtadeen and agents of Zionists. They are murtad. They are enemy number one of Islam. Similarly, in Pakistan, they were declared non-Muslim in 1973 and 1974, and they have got nothing to do with Islam. If there is anything, that is enmity. Everywhere they go, they bring lies against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they bring lies against Holy Quran, they bring lies against Rasulullah, and they declare all Muslims as kafirs, as the children of the prostitutes, as dogs and swine, all those who do not believe in their mission. If you happen to find some Qadiani who differ to what I am saying, I have at least another 30, 40 brochures in which they tell lie after lie. And I can make all their books available, about 100, more than 100, in the real books written by and printed by these people, from where I can read out those things which prove that they are liars. Each and every prophecy made by this liar was never fulfilled. And he spoke in such a language that even a child would be ashamed of using language. The way I read it to you, his wahi, his revelation in English. So therefore, there are people who believe that these Qadianis came to United States and they did a lot of work for Islam. And they read Maulvi Muhammad Ali's Holy Quran. One thing I tell you, they were the first enemies, which were the first agents, because they came when the Pakistan was made. They were kind of homeless, and they were sort of orphans. So they were immediately adopted by the present American agencies, and they were brought here. They were the worst enemies because they used Holy Quran to propagate a falsehood. And this is the record we have. So don't you think that when they came to the United States, they are still doing it. They are printing Ahmadis, they are printing Holy Quran, they are printing all our books, and then on the margin, on the footnotes, they write all the filth and all the lies. For instance, Imam Nabi's Riyadh al-Salihin was this Zafrullah Khan, a most thoroughly corrupt man, a very cruel man. His name is Zafrullah Khan, who was, and I believe he is still, judge of Sir Muhammad Zafrullah Khan. First is the name Sir Muhammad Zafrullah Khan. The British gave him the title of Sir. British would never give anybody title of Sir if that person was not their lackey, if he was not their agent. The very fact he still maintained a title, and is former President, International Court of Justice. He is a very cruel man. He tells lies after lies. He is a pervert, and he is a very well known intriguer and worst enemy of Muslimin. So beware that don't read any book or the one Holy Quran which bears his name. There are Hadith and the Riyadh al-Salihin translated in English by this dog. So you must be very careful when you see any book about Islam or a copy of Holy Quran or translation. You must be very sure that you must go to your nearest masjid, or you get in touch with the Quranic Open University, and if you have got any problem, you please find out what you are reading, because false reading at times proves more fatal than eating poison. So therefore, be careful and warn your friends and your children and all your brother Muslims that they must, wherever they find these Qadianis, they must write to them and tell them, we know who you are, you better leave this area. But at the same time, I don't wish to create a situation of law and order. We are basically ulama, the scholars. We have the Quranic Open University. Our job is to tell you what is right and what is wrong, and how you should save yourself from the wrong thing. And that is done by gaining knowledge. Now, alhamdulillah, you have the knowledge that there are liars and fabricators and mutadeen. So you should save yourself. We don't advise you that since they have been declared mutadeen, it is the duty of the Islamic states like Saudi Arabia and the government of Pakistan and the government of Nigeria and many governments in Africa and other way to take positive steps against them. But you living in an un-Islamic country, I don't suggest that you should ever think of come to any physical argument or other thing. Just avoid them. Arad means that you save, you keep away from the Jahilin, from these people. You got nothing to do with them, and you say you go this way. We know who you are enemy's agent, you are Zionist agent, and we are Alhamdulillah Muslimin, and we believe in the finality of the Rasul Akram sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He is our last messenger. Holy Quran is our last book, There's no wahi after Sayyidina Rasulullah Sallam's Nabuwa. There's no book after Holy Quran. And there's no religion after Islam. And according to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the only deen He recognizes is the deen of Islam. So therefore, you should be these journals like these and other things, these journals, see that your wives and your daughters don't read these. These are again, there are journals printed by them. There are many. They hold big meetings. They do all the things. Remember, these people are murtadeen, they are kafir, they are not Muslim, and they are our number one enemy. And I would say the number two, I would declare the enemy. That is, I will come to that, inshallah, whenever I will get time to inform you of another more than 1200 years old conspiracy that is, which is we call Shiaism, which is at present being headed by one false Imam of the era, Khomeini. So inshallah I will read out from his books and their books that how people had been conspiring since centuries to destroy Islam and as Muslim Islamic unity. May Allah save you and save us from the fitna al-Dajjal and fitna al-Dajjal and fitna Dabat al-Ard. And all this fitna, because this is the age of fitna. This is the age about which Rasulullah has spoken, and all the signs have been fulfilled. There are very few signs which are left. Therefore, always you turn to your Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and read Holy Quran, understand the meanings, and don't read any book like translation of Holy Quran or the Hadith by anybody other than those renowned Muslim scholars.